In this WrestleTalk news, is MJF considering making the jump from wrestling to Hollywood? Was Dark Side of the Ring cancelled by WWE? And Ollie's going to be here reviewing AEW Dynamite from last night, so subscribe and enable notifications to always on for daily wrestling news videos.
Support WrestleTalk!
Now, there's been a lot of drama around a certain Mr. MJF who has been very vocal about his contract within AEW. He no-showed a meet and greet ahead of Double or Nothing, and then he blurred the lines between kayfabe and reality with a pipe bomb promo on Tony Khan, which is one of the most interesting / confusing stories / realities in wrestling for a good long while now. And the latest news from a report from Fightful Select doesn't exactly do loads to clean it up. Because in their report they said that Tony Khan and MJF met at the Rampage in Las Vegas the night before he no-showed the meet and greet, but they have no word on what they talked about or how it went. I mean, considering the no-show, not well, potentially. They also noted that MJF stayed in Los Angeles after his Dynamite promo last week, but didn't attend AEW's party with Warner Discovery execs. MJF also didn't fly up to Ontario for Rampage following the show either. Instead, he remained in LA, which people reckon is pertinent because he has previously said that he wants to explore his options in Hollywood. And Fightful heard he had meetings the last week to talk about potential acting opportunities in Los Angeles. And he was already said to have recorded a voice role for an upcoming animated project. Now, as we know from WWE's troubles with getting The Rock back for just one more show, Hollywood acting and wrestling are sometimes just at odds in the contract department, so it comes down to whether MJF can balance the two or has to put the wrestling on hold while pursuing these opportunities. Speaking of things on hold, Vice's wrestling documentary series Dark Side of the Ring has been having some production woes, and by woes I mean it's balked. SEScoops.com are reporting that the production of the fourth series has ground to a halt and the series itself is currently on hold. Now, the show drew great ratings from the network, but apparently some contributors have now backed out after the Plane Ride from Hell episode aired and they grew concerned over their portrayal in the series. It was noted that several wrestling legends were contacted for Series 4 and passed on participating. For instance, Jim Ross and Tony Schiavone have publicly claimed on their podcast that they would not be participating in future shows. Enter WWE, who are now said to be partnering with series creators Evan Husney and Jason Eisner on a new project for Vice TV, which is said to have a much softer, sanitized tone than Dark Side of the Ring. One source quoted for the article said that the new show would be campfire talks about the old days of wrestling, which sound quite similar to the WWE Legends Roundtable shows that used to air on WWE 24/7. Now, the creators have been given access to WWE's archives and personalities, with Stone Cold Steve Austin already said to have filmed for the project. What is interesting here, though, is that WWE already have a working relationship with Vice TV parent station A&E and have been co-producing shows with them for quite a while now, with even more to come. On the other hand, Dark Side of the Ring was one of those few mainstream shows that heavily criticized wrestling's past, with access to and acknowledgement from the people who were actually there. That show being on hold and WWE suddenly stepping in to create something sanitized reeks of them trying to control their narrative about wrestling and wrestling history, and perhaps show the company and its legacy in a bit more of a favourable light. Anyway, hot tag to Ollie.
Thanks for your support on Patreon, Mad Mac the Meat Father and Abominable Michael Abbott. You too can get your own shout out by going to patreon.com/WrestleTalk. Now it's time for my review of All New Honor Japan Ring of Wrestling Dynamite in about 5 minutes. The show opened hot on the Casino Battle Royal to crown a #1 contender, to Jon Moxley, to face Hiroshi Tanahashi, to become an interim AEW World Champion, to eventually face CM Punk to become the undisputed AEW World Champion. Makes total sense. The first 5 saw Tony Nese, Lance Archer and Daniel Garcia already in the ring. Ladies and gentlemen, your Rumble filler participants, who were then joined by Darby Allin and Eddie Kingston, who, true to character, totally ignored the chance to become AEW World Champion and just tried to murder Garcia. Sidebar, I would love Eddie to win, setting up matches against Moxley, Tanahashi and then Punk. The second group of 5 saw the super cool team of Swerve Strickland and Keith Lee enter, who arguably had the most shocking spot in the match. They saved each other early on rather than turning on each other. Oh goddammit, Swerve, you eliminated Lee after that. This is one of my most hated spots in wrestling. Yes, I am still annoyed about that Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins. It's a terrible Rumble strategy if you truly want to win. You look like an idiot if you do it. Only turn on your partner near the end, not midway through. Swerve Not winning this match proves that right and undermines the momentum of his heel turn. At least it seemed to set up a mouth-watering Lee versus Swerve feud. Swerve also betrayed Alan later on, and also felt like the only spot of note. The remaining 11 entrants, the Ass Boys, John Silver, Dante Martin, was sorely lacking in star power. Some of that is the injury scourge afflicting wrestling right now, but a lot of it is also intentional on the booker's part. There was no MJF, no Chris Jericho, no Wardlow, no Hangman Page. Some of those were given lame duck reasons later on, but it unfortunately sends the message that AEW's active top stars don't care that much about getting a shot at its top interim title. This felt like a mid-carder battle royal, but it all depends on what you want to achieve. Maybe you want to elevate a mid-card star to a main event spot, and with the final four of Rey Fenix, the Joker, Andrade, Wheeler Yuta and Kyle O'Reilly, there was a lot of potential for someone to break out. It would have been better if they'd also gone through the top stars to do that, but let's work with what we've got. For me, the best winners would have been Yuta to set up a Blackpool Combat Club rematch against Mox, further rising Wheeler's star power, or Andrade, probably Mox's most credible opponent other than Kingston, which could be used as a way to establish his new faction with Roosh. Instead, O'Reilly won. A guy with a lot of winning momentum right now, but probably the least believable in the slot, unfortunately making the main event very predictable. By my count, AEW regularly feature 9 title belts on their shows, 11 if you include the Owen Hart ones. So it's about time we got another belt, as they announced the All-Atlantic Championship. The inaugural champ will be crowned in yet another tournament between AEW's international talent. Feels a lot like the European title, which began with Britain's Pac versus Australia's Buddy in a match so awesomely thigh-slappy, it fittingly could probably be heard in both those countries. Pac won. Trent and FTR started to talk about wanting an ROH tag title rematch when frickin' Will Ospreay walked out on stage. A distraction for his United Empire faction to jump for AEW stars ahead of Forbidden Door. This was awesome and went down huge with the crowd, but you do only get to debut Ospreay in AEW once, and I'm not sure I would have done it in an ROH tag title feud. Hangman Page beat David Finlay in his first appearance since losing the world title, a world title that meant so much to him he wasn't in the 21-man battle royal to get another shot, and he sipped to fans' beer at ringside. This is actually photographic proof that Hangman can melt women. Hangman cut a promo afterwards saying he wasn't booked for the Battle Royal, which just makes AEW look incompetent. So he's gonna go for Okada's IWGP Championship. Great, that's enough right there. That certainly doesn't need any complications added to the story. Ah, damn it, it's all about the boo. Adam Cole interrupted, saying it should be him getting the match instead, seemingly building yet another Cole versus Hangman match. And it was Wardlow's turn to explain why he wasn't in the Battle Royal either. It's because he only wants to beat the real champion CM Punk. Okay, well that sure craps over the whole interim title idea. Instead, right now, he wants Scorpio Sky's TNT title. First, he'll have to resolve his comedy feud with Mark Sterling, and a handicap match of him versus 20 security guards was booked for next week. A fun visual, but this is nowhere near as over as he was before Double or Nothing. Another tag title feud, another case of Jurassic Express being the third wheel for their own championships. This time they're the background players in the Young Bucks versus the Hardys, in a 3-way ladder match booked for next week. Yes, you heard me. A ladder match. First, please don't die, Jeff. Second, just put the belts on the Bucks already, because that's the only time AEW seems to care about booking their tag champions well. Thunder Rosa beat Marina Shafir with a roll-up in 5 minutes, and then set up a feud with Toni Storm. Then the baddies got a promo. This was a big step right back to where the women's division was after last week's awesome tag match. And the main event saw O'Reilly getting the babyface spot, already having wrestled in the opener, go against Moxley. Only NXT 1.0 kids will know why the commentary and preceding interview was so special. William Regal wished O'Reilly luck against Moxley. Their blend of stiff strikes, submissions, and brawling created a fantastic main event. I'm not sure anyone ever bought O'Reilly winning. I certainly didn't. After a really strong style back and forth finish, Mox won with one paradigm shift, and the show went off air. What did you think of Dynamite? Let me know in the comments. I really enjoyed the show, but I also felt like there was a lot of missed potential. The Battle Royal was really fun, but lacked star power. Will Ospreay debuted, but in an ROH tag title feud. We're getting a new championship in a promotion already full of them. It's difficult to criticize too much because Punk's injury has obviously derailed so many plans, but I also feel the promotion has played its reaction uncharacteristically safe. I believe AEW is better than that, and they could have turned this into something far better and more exciting. Also, absolutely no mention of MJF. This week's Dynamite was 78%. There's reports that a new batch of WWE releases is coming. Watch more to find out.
In this WrestleTalk news, are more releases coming to NXT 2.0? An NXT star is getting rebranded, a WWE main roster star has suddenly dropped his gimmick, and Tempest reviews last night's episode of NXT 2.0.